Good morning. As usual, we're trying to get ready for the weekend and see if we can't get things kind of settled in where we can do some things that we want to do and not have to just be taking care of animals the whole weekend. So I've fed Xena already down with the billy goats, and now I'm moving the cattle. I'll move them this morning, and then I'll move them again in the morning, and then that pasture will be big enough it'll keep them for the weekend. Got to go move the goats, and then we're going to put Floppy out. Got to do some fence work. We're going to get it done. So I guess let's get to work. Let's go, ladies. Webster's definition of chaos is a state of utter confusion. How in the world do you manage a business that's based on chaos? Stick around as it gets closer to the end of the video. I'm going to tell you how we manage it. We got a little bit of rain. We don't need any more rain. They don't want to walk through that grass, so I got them coming down the road. Gotta. That's okay. Observe and adjust. Follow the light. Gotta. You can see they like that boat art. Not very many leaves down low.
Here comes the line of babies.
Well, look who I ran across. It's the Rock. Hey, Rocky. What do you say, boy? Lisa will be happy. Come on. Get it. The only bad part about an O'Brien post, you leave it bent for a little bit and it'll stay bent. Ooh. Well, here we go. We're getting rid of the bottle goat that Lisa has been kind of taking care of for a while. We've got him and the trainer. We're going to put both them back out with the herd, and we've done everything we know to do with the bottle. We let him and Rocky kind of socialize a little bit, so he's been around younger kids, and then we got the trainer in here that he's been with, so he's not trying to nurse her, so I think he's too big anyway for an old nanny to kill him, but he ought to be fine if we can just find some goats to put him with. You looking? Huh?
No.
As usual, I'm doing everything.
Whoa, I'm going back home.
There goes your trainer. Indy! Indy! No. She'll settle in.
He's following you out there. Why don't you take him on out?
Come on. Working on the goats paddock, and I'm looking to see where I can get some dirt. This tub, what happens was I had it built up around it where the goats could get into it, but when the cattle come in, if we get a rain at all in any form or fashion, the cattle will waller it out around the sides, and then all of a sudden it's 4 feet to get a drink. That may be, yeah, it's 3 feet for sure. And so I've got to come in here and kind of build that back up and make sure the goats, especially the babies, if they need to, can get up there and get some water. There's always one that decides they can jump or go under or whatever they want to do. Don't do that. You know, some cows just don't get it. You know, one of the most difficult things about managing farming and ranching both, and this is straight from Ian Mitchell Ennis, he's mentioned it a million times, you're managing chaos. And there's so many variables that come into play when you're doing this stuff. It's difficult to repeat. So you can kind of see behind me maybe that this is going to be one of those years where native grasses, specifically gamma grass, is just blowing up. It's coming up in spots that I've never seen it before. And we've always had it since I've been here, and it spreads, but you don't see it spreading every year. But just all the conditions were just right this year where it spread, and you're seeing it. So the question is, you know, how do you reproduce those conditions if that's what you're wanting to see back here behind me? And it's not in this spot. It's like this, you know, all over. So that's a difficult thing to try to reproduce something that has almost an infinite number of variables. That's where if you're utilizing inputs, it becomes a little simpler, because the more inputs you use, the less steep those variables may play in your operation. Now, the trade-off is inputs cost money. So you really don't want to do that. So you just kind of continue to manage, and you observe and you adjust. At some point you may put things together with maybe from your data collection on the year, as far as rainfall, as far as how you impacted this pasture or that pasture and how it responded. And you might be able to tie some trends together in hopes of reproducing that without inputs, but it's extremely difficult. I think the bottom line is for a healthy ecosystem as far as the plants part of the community, it needs to be impacted with a bovine or some type of ruminant and utilized, and then it needs water and it needs blah, blah, blah. But it needs to be impacted with something that's going to graze it. It's obvious that's what it was created for. And that's what the ruminants were created to do. So you just keep utilizing it, you keep monitoring things. You know, there's one thing that I have noticed over the years. When I see a year like this, and we didn't have abnormal rainfall, we actually were very dry early in the season. But when I see a year like this where we have a Marshall rye that just comes up everywhere, every pasture, a Marshall rye comes up, I can tie that back to when we killed our first deer over 200 inches. Is that a trend? I don't know. I'm going to be anxious to see if it plays a role. But there again, when you start talking about chaos and an infinite number of variables, I just mentioned one variable at least. The variable was I noticed Marshall rye everywhere. And I remember when we killed our first deer over 200 inches, it was a spring where there was Marshall rye everywhere. Who knows? So to sum it up, manage what you have and try to promote what you want without spending any money. It's the ultimate roller coaster. Just graze it, give it rest, and hold on tight because you don't know what's going to happen.